Hey everyone, I'm Dan Davis with the American Battlefield Trust, and this is a real treat for me, a real treat to bring this to you, our viewers. Be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends about this video. I know the background behind me may look a little bit cluttered and confusing, but we are standing right outside the Alamo, and I want to talk to you today not only about our friends at the Alamo who are doing some fantastic preservation work and restoration work here, but also talk a little bit about the Alamo compound itself, the 13-day siege, and the armament that is here behind the Alamo walls, defending it in the garrison of roughly about 200 men between February 23rd and March 6, 1836. So let's walk on into the reconstructed lunette. This is the south entrance or the main gate to the Alamo complex, Mission San Antonio de Valero. And I think it's important to remember that the Alamo was established first as a mission. It's not a military fortification. It was established as a military fortification when the Texas Revolution began in the fall of 1835. The Mexican Army is going to do improvements here. The Texas forces are going to do improvements here. And we're standing in the midst of one of the reconstructed improvements, a lunette guarding the main gate. There would have been a 4-pound and 6-pound guns inside the lunette. But one of the more interesting aspects I like here about the lunette is that it's one of the few places in the Alamo proper, in the compound, where you actually can see interlocking fields of fire. The gun here that was placed facing off to the east could catch an assaulting force attacking from the south and enfilade fire as they approach the palisade. And we're going to visit the palisade, the reconstructed palisade, in just a few minutes. Now, as we're continuing on here through the main gate, we see this wonderful reconstruction and displays here and interpretation that our friends at the Alamo have installed here. We're also walking through, and you're going to see a statue of one of the famous defenders of the Alamo here to my right. As we come in, there's James Bowie, known as one of the most legendary knife fighters, or the most legendary knife fighter in the Southwest. Bowie is a co-commander of the Alamo garrison. He's going to come down with some type of ailment. We don't know exactly sure what, typhoid pneumonia, consumption, tuberculosis, but he is going to be on his sickbed actually here in this area where the statue is located. He's going to spend the bulk of the 13-day siege in the bed, occasionally coming out to help rally the men and in spirit lift up the spirits of the defenders. Continuing on, if you were to reach the main gate, if you're an attacking force getting through the main gate, you would have run into two 3-pound guns behind a barricade facing toward the main gate if that fortification was penetrated. Over to the left, you're going to see some scaffolding there. That's another one of those reconstructed portions of the Alamo compound. That is where the famous 18-pounder would have been, the southwest corner of the gate, facing the town and commanding the town. From there, moving from right to left through much of the construction that you see here today, and this is going to be the new Alamo Welcome Center, new visitor center and museum that's going to be opening up in 2028. I don't know about you, but I'm already booking my tickets to come back to San Antonio to see that fantastic new facility that they're going to open. But as you make your way along the west wall, again, you're facing towards San Antonio, you would have run into the blacksmith shop, an artillery shop that was built into one of the old mission houses that was here. The Texans are actually going to position a 12-pound grenade just a little ways north, facing west toward the town of the artillery and blacksmith shop. From there, you're going to have where William Travis's headquarters. He's the commander of the Alamo garrison. Then on the opposite side of Travis's headquarters is a 6-pound gun that is positioned to fire actually through a hole cut in the wall. From there, you get to the northeast corner. There's a 9-pound gun and a 6-pound gun at the northeast corner. The 9-pounder we think faced toward the west, toward the town. The 6-pounder faced to the north. Then moving around to the north, you're at the north wall, and it's at the north wall where much of the wall structure has fallen into disrepair. There's a lot of damage that is going to be inflicted upon it by the Texas forces during the siege here in the fall and into December of 1835. But from there, facing to the north, you have another gun platform facing to the north, a couple of 9-pounders and a 6-pounder. Then moving over to the right, and that command post or that gun position I just mentioned would have been roughly in the area where the steps of the federal courthouse building is located. That's also going to be where William Travis is going to fall on the morning of March 6, 1836, shot through the head, probably one of the first Alamo defenders to perish during the final assault. Making our way around to the right, you have the long barrack. This would have extended even farther toward the federal courthouse. At the time of the siege and battle, the long barrack, the old Mission Convento, was about 2 stories in height. That is where the Texans kept their granary, their storehouses. They kept an arsenal in there, extra ammunition, as well as a hospital, which was based on the 2nd floor of the convent. Now we're also walking into a rather interesting area here. You're going to see the iconic facade of the Alamo, the mission itself, and the church. But we are standing in an area where there was actually a kitchen that's stretched sort of north from the low barrack. There was a low wall and then an opening to get actually into the courtyard in front of the church itself. We think the Texans may have placed a 4-pounder to guard that opening. Now moving around to the right, we're going to move around to see probably the most famous of all the Alamo defenders, or at least a statue of him, and as well as some more of the reconstruction work that our friends at the Alamo have done here. And you can see probably coming up right just ahead of you is a statue of the most famous frontiersman probably of the 19th century, David Crockett. David Crockett and his men, the Tennessee Mounted Volunteers, as they were so named, were given the assignment by Colonel Travis to defend about a 115-foot stretch of a palisaded wall that stretched between the Alamo Chapel and the low barrack itself. The Texans are going to place a 4-pounder here. They're going to have palisaded stakes placed in the ground, roughly about with a height of about 10 feet or so. Beyond that, there was a small ditch, and then beyond that, abattis, or trees with their branches sharpened and facing toward an attacking enemy. At the near corner of the Alamo Church, the Texans constructed a observation post so they can have a 360-degree panoramic view of the surrounding landscape. Now the final elements of the fortifications are going to be inside the church itself. There were not any doors at the time of the siege. We believe that the doors, or the entrance to the church, would have been sandbagged. After you moved over those sandbags, you would have walked up a very long ramp to a point at the rear of the church where the Texans placed 2 6-pounders and 1 12-pounder facing east to defend the eastern approaches to the complex. On the other side of the connecting wall, you would have had come into the old Mission courtyard, as well as just beyond that in the courtyard there we see the beautiful, in fact, oak tree. Beyond that courtyard were the horse and cattle pens, and the Texans would have had a 4-pounder facing roughly off to the northeast from the area where the horse and cattle pens were located. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching and coming along on this very brief journey. Go back and take a look at some of our other videos from our Texas swing. Like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends. And for Chris White behind the camera, Gary Edelman, our friends at the Alamo, I'm Dan Davis. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for supporting battlefield education and preservation.
Hello, this is Trace Atkins. Get inspired at battlefields.org.